Hello, this is Tim Campsa with TBC Action Coach of Indiana with our Business Spotlight series. The purpose is to interview local business owners and promote them on our social channels and email database. This is a free service we're providing because if every small business is strong, then the economy is strong. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dan. Welcome, Dan. It's great to have you on the program today.
Hey, Tim, thank you so much for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your background story.
Yeah, my name is Dan Gosling. I am a professional trumpet player by trade. I've lived in Indianapolis since 1985 after I finished my 2 degrees in trumpet performance and went on to a very successful freelance career in the Indianapolis area as a professional musician and teacher, primarily playing a lot with the Indianapolis Symphony. I was a founding member of the Indianapolis Chamber Orchestra, and did some adjunct teaching at both Butler University and Ball State University. Other regional orchestras, recording studio work, church engagements, weddings, you name it. My wife is also a professional violinist, and she does very much the same kind of work, just on a different instrument. And we've been together since, well, we're coming up on our 25th anniversary next week. So
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. So that's my musical journey. The business journey actually kind of came out of a major professional disappointment. I was up for a full-time job with the Indianapolis Symphony. This would have been in 2004. After a couple seasons of playing with them a lot, there was an audition to hold the position full-time. And as it turned out, I did not win that audition, even though I thought this was my dream job. Didn't win that audition, but a couple weeks after that, conversation with one of those people that I used to teach at Butler University. His name was Wesley Bullock, and Wesley Bullock in this conversation, again, just kind of hanging out a few weeks after this audition, still kind of licking my wounds and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. Wesley starts talking about this herb called Arnica, and the way he did it, he said he had this marching band accident, and he injured his lip in this marching band collision with this. So he now got this horrible bruise on his lips, and he's telling me this story. And I said, "What did you do?" And he said, "I put Arnica. I used Arnica." And I looked at him like, "Okay, what's Arnica?" It turns out Arnica is a natural anti-inflammatory. Turns out my grandmother used it. I didn't know that at the time, or I'd forgotten that apparently. And it's been around for centuries. It's, like I said, it's a natural healing agent, and that's when the idea for my product, ChopSaver, came to be. The idea of creating a better lip care product for people like me, professional, or not just professionals, but people that play a wind or brass instrument. And there are millions of them, whether they're kids in a school band or college marching band or professionals like myself or amateurs, and not just trumpet players, flute, tuba, saxophone. So I realized maybe there's a pretty big market here. So I set out to create a better chapstick, if you will, a much better lip balm for people like me, and that's what I did.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about your business. If I was to say, what's your 60-second commercial? How would you describe your business?
Yeah, well, I would say ChopSaver Lip Care was developed by professional trumpet player Dan Gosling in his kitchen. Originally created for the unique lip care needs of winds and brass musicians, ChopSaver is now endorsed and recommended by dermatologists as a superior lip care product for their patients with chronic lip problems. It's a proprietary blend of natural moisturizers and healing herbs, including Arnica, which is a natural anti-inflammatory, which actually comes from the sunflower family.
Wonderful. So Dan, how long have you been in business with ChopSaver?
Yeah, so the idea, as I said, came to me in May. We're coming up on an anniversary there too, May of 2004. I managed to create the formula itself in about 2 months of just crazy mad scientist in my kitchen, trial and error kind of stuff. My wife truly thought it was either midlife crisis or I was just depressed after the audition or a combination of both. She thought this was a phase. Well, we're going on a 16, 17-year phase here. And I would say that, for many, many years, I was still playing. So this was definitely kind of a side hustle, although I was very passionate about it and did put a lot of time into it. For many years, I was doing both. It's only recently have I committed full time to this endeavor.
Fantastic. So I know you mentioned people who play instruments, but who do you serve? Who's your best customer, or what we call a target audience?
Interesting right now, and actually, as a result of COVID, we were, I mean, we always knew because, or, within a couple of years, I had gotten the attention of a few dermatologists, and we would actually, to try to leverage that, we would go to, whereas in the beginning, I used to go to, band competitions and marching festivals or band director conventions and things like that. Um, for a few years there, we were just as likely to be seen at the American Academy of Dermatology
Mm.
convention or the Dermatology Nurses Association convention. And because dermatologists were becoming fans of the product, we thought we need to really market. Marketing in the in the medical space is obscenely expensive, as you can imagine. So we were not able to keep doing that, but we did get a significant number of dermatologists across the country that we count as fans and supporters. So we always knew it was not just for musicians.
Mm.
Um, but our marketing never really looked like that, never really looked like that until COVID. And while we wanted to, in the back of our mind, hey, we need to broaden this out, COVID, because sadly, what COVID did to, like so many industries, it just decimated the music performance industry across the board, whether it was high school marching bands or big rock concerts or festivals or Broadway or anything. The Indianapolis Symphony has been shut down, as most other orchestras have been for over a year now. So it's been awful for my market, my first target market of musicians. So we realized now's the time to find that new market. So last year, summertime, was a process of redoing the website, finding imagery and things that might just appeal to not just musicians, but anybody. So that if anybody stumbled onto this website, they would feel welcome and feel like, oh, I get the story here, but this is actually something I can use.
Mhm.
So as it turns out, my son is graduating from IU with a degree in graphic arts and design and marketing and a minor in psychology. So he was on lockdown. He's home for the summer. He and I build this new website, and with the idea that maybe it should be really more friendly to women, kind of on a hunch. And then with some guidance from a local agency that we were working with for a short time, that yeah, the women were probably going to be the biggest driver of this, because it's, at the end of the day, it's kind of a cosmetic. It's kind of a more female. I mean, yes, guys buy chapstick and Carmex and all that, but uh, I think if you looked at the stats, it's still more of a female product. Um, so we come up with this new website, and then I start running my own Facebook ads very broadly, and lo and behold, all the orders that I'm getting are from women, and women over 50. So we are doubling down on that. I'd say 90% of the orders I get now are from women over 50. So everything is kind of geared towards them right now.
Sure. You mentioned COVID a couple times. What's been the greatest impact that COVID has had on your business?
Yeah, I think the fact that it destroyed one market kind of pulled the rug out from underneath me. But I quickly had to shift and pivot to something that we, again, in the back of our mind, knew we probably needed to do, but
Mhm.
it put it on rails. We had to really figure this out,
Yeah.
relatively quickly, what was going to be our new message, and the people that, COVID or not, would still, have an interest in this product. And I think we found that.
Yeah, fantastic. A lot of people have obviously had to pivot during this time.
Sure.
Unfortunately, some people, thought, "Hey, this is just going to be a 1 month thing," and they kind of ducked their head in the sand and said, "We'll wait this out." So happy to
Right.
hear that you guys were able to quickly pivot and find a way to market during this really crazy time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah. And it's, the craziness is, there's, normals, new normal, back to normal. It's for certain industries, it's going to be many, many, many years before they regain their footing or reinvent themselves. Not just a couple months. We're still in the middle of this thing in terms of the ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an interesting question, Dan. It's been said that Smart people learn from their mistakes, and wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So, what's a mistake that you've made along the way that you'd be willing to share so that other entrepreneurs can learn from your experience?
Um, I think understand, and I was just on a, I was watching my my latest inspiration. I don't know if you know this young lady, Jamie Kern Lima. Actually, I'm reading this book right now.
Okay.
Fantastic book. She basically had a beauty brand that was very different and spoke to regular women, not just models, um, because she had rosacea and things, and came up with this beauty product, this cosmetic line. Short story is she sold it to L'Oreal for $1.2 billion a couple of years ago. But she was on a call. I was on a call last night with her on a coaching call that she does in a group setting, and she was talking about resilience and rejection and how you reframe those things,
Mm,
and that rejection is just, you know, sometimes that thing that you missed out on, you're actually, it's a good thing, you know, you were being protected from something, and that rejection isn't about you, it's just about the people you're talking to, and that maybe they just don't share your vision, things like that. We were in CVS for 2 years,
mhm,
and I thought CVS was going to be our golden ticket, and it turned out to be the two worst years of my business life,
mm,
just in terms of the pressure and the expectation and the lack of funding, the funding we thought was going to come in that didn't, to help drive those sales in CVS. Um, but I basically begged for a second year, and I wish I had just said, you know what, this 1 year it didn't work out.
mm,
I was getting rejected, if you will, and if I had seen that sooner, instead of like doubling down and literally going in there with my broker and pleading for one more year, we're really going to do it this year. Looking back, I wish I had seen that initial rejection as, you're just not quite ready. Don't
mm,
don't waste another year on
right.
this. It's just going to be more money and that you don't have, more heartache. Cut your losses, um, because that second year was even harder than the first, and it's still. And interestingly enough, if I'd really been paying attention, even though I was telling the world, go to CVS, go to CVS, go to CVS, people were going to Amazon.
Mm,
My Amazon, I was on Amazon, and my Amazon orders were going up, you know, despite what I was trying to tell people. And
right.
it's like, that's the future, Dan. You know, that, don't, you know, who, you know, that was before COVID and all that, before
Right.
stores imploded, CVS included. And so getting on the shelves of a major retailer is just not, that's not what it used to mean. It
Mm,
may come back a little bit, but I think if that, there are a lot of things I wish I'd done differently, of course, but I think that's a big one, that I'd seen that, because I worked so hard to get into CVS. That was such an achievement, you know, for
right.
this small brand. And
Yeah.
I just, my ego couldn't let go of the fact that, no, I did this. This is the thing that's going to pivot to the next step. And it just didn't. And I should have cut my losses earlier.
Mhm. Well, hey, Dan, thank you so much for sharing that. I know others will be able to benefit from your insight. Second last question here. We've got your contact information. We'll be sure to include that along with this video so folks can visit you on your website, learn more about you guys. Is there anything else that you'd like to make sure we cover today, or any offers that you have running?
Um, you know, I appreciate the chance to tell the story. The offer we have right now is, anyone who watches this video, uh, use the coupon code COACH, just COACH, at chopsaver.com, and you'll get 15% off your first order of ChopSaver Lip Care.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. We'll be sure
Oh,
to
sure.
include that along with the contact information as well. So last question here, Dan, tell us what's been most inspiring to you during all the craziness of the past year?
I would say the History Channel. And the reason I say that is my wife and I have been watching their current documentary series going now is called The Food That Built America. Now, I don't have a food product, but it's in this series, they're talking about Kellogg's and Hershey's and Reese's and Swanson frozen dinners and all these Stouffer's, all these major brands. And
Mm,
when you hear their initial, you know, backstory, how these things got started, uh, Heinz, I mean, it's just fascinating. And what these men and women went through
mm,
to grab onto this vision and see it through, often during depression or often during times of war, or often, uh, really inspiring stories, really fascinating. And so I just, whether I'll be as big, my brand will be as big as any of those, who knows? Probably not. But still the drive that they had, the vision that they had to create what are now just multi-billion dollar brands is really inspiring to me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Dan, for the interview. For those listening, if you've heard something that it has sparked your interest, please reach out to visit Dan's website, take advantage of that 15% off offer. Uh, you definitely want to try this product out for all the reasons that Dan just shared. Dermatologists recommended. This special, not secret, but secret healing product that's included in it. Definitely support a local business here. For everyone who appears on this show, we do offer a complimentary coaching session. So Dan will talk about that
Sure.
offline
Great.
here. It's been an absolute pleasure learning about you and your business, Dan, and I wish you tremendous success.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you to you and to your listeners. Appreciate the time.
Have a great day.
You too.